We need a shift in our economic model that places nature and the world's transition to net zero at the heart of how we operate.
Some of the most senior leaders from across business, finance, government, academia and philanthropy to discuss practical solutions, an important staging post on the road to COP26.
These are sobering circumstances in which we find ourselves here in London and around the world. Today, we stand at a tipping point for finance. The point at which we can trigger an everlasting cycle of innovation and investment for net zero.
And so it is with climate change, a crisis that involves the entire world and from which no one will be able to self-isolate.
Addressing climate change is not only the right thing to do, it's a commercial necessity. It's crucial for sustainable recovery and, more importantly, for growth.
The economic challenges of the climate transition are phenomenal. And often I ask myself, what is the cause? Survival. And I ask myself, who is responsible? All.
Companies, investors, and shareholders can play a pivotal role in this transition by mobilizing capital toward the technologies and businesses we need to build the net zero future.
But government cannot do this alone. The City of London is one of the world's preeminent financial centres with a long history of financing private sector innovation.
There is an urgent need to raise global ambition in reducing our emissions, building climate resilience and reaching a net zero global economy.
I hope that the decisions taken at Glasgow next year will be decisive in creating a net zero world.
There is no doubt that finance plays a pivotal role in the global post-COVID recovery.
To win the fight against climate change, we also must harness the firepower of the financial sector, and this means we need policies that nurture sustainable finance and mobilize funds for green investments.
Good afternoon. I'm William Russell, Lord Mayor of the City of London. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to the formal launch of Green Horizon Summit at COP26. What you have just seen were some of the many highlights from the first Green Horizon Summit in November 2020, which was hosted by the City of London Corporation and the Green Finance Institute. It was a fantastic event, one I was very proud to be involved in. In fact, it was an important milestone for many of us. It highlighted the urgency of tackling climate change and helped galvanize the financial and professional services industry towards COP26. We welcomed a series of influential speakers and spoke to a global audience with over 300,000 online views. Now we are looking forward to COP26 in Glasgow in November. It was heartening to hear Alok Sharma's recent speech, where he stressed that the government will make every effort possible to ensure a physical COP, despite the impact of COVID-19. It cannot be overstated how crucial a COP this is, especially if we are to meet our ambitions to halt climate change and make a real positive difference to the lives of everyone on the planet. And I strongly believe that private finance and our industry will play a vital role in the transition to a net zero economy. We now want to take everything we have learned through the Green Horizon Summit and build further on its foundation. Namely, we want to develop the Green Horizon brand, platform and audience for COP26 to give us a strong and clear voice. So with that, I'm delighted to announce today our plans for Green Horizon Summit at COP26. Now, our goal will be to mobilize private finance for net zero and importantly provide a platform for financial and professional services industry. We at the City of London Corporation, with our colleagues at the Green Finance Institute, want to work with all of you to deliver this. It is time for us all to put our commercial and institutional rivalries aside so we can collaborate and pull together our resources. We know that when it comes to tackling climate change, the sum is greater than its parts. So I'm very excited about what we can achieve. But I must issue a word of caution ahead of COP26. As an industry, we cannot afford to be bland or complacent. We must speak up, and we must not be afraid to tackle the big issues. We must be open to debate and challenge, but we must also ensure our programme and our messages are accessible, ambitious, and relevant. And perhaps most importantly, we need to ensure that we remain aligned with the efforts of our government, which has already done so much to support this work. And to that end, I'm delighted to show a message of support for the Green Horizon Summit at COP26 from Nigel Topping, the UK high-level climate action champion.
Mobilising private finance is a crucial plank in the race to zero, which is why I was so delighted that the Green Horizons Summit last November was so successful, and there's no doubt that that helped build the momentum which enabled me and Mark Carney a few weeks ago to launch the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, which already has over 160 asset owners, asset managers and banks, with more to come, and insurers as well, and already over $70 trillion of power driving the race to zero. So I'm delighted that the Lord Mayor, the City of London and the Green Finance Institute are continuing with the Green Horizon Summit brand and launching Green Horizon Summit at COP26. I have no doubt that that will help mobilise a lot more financial players and demonstrate to the world that the City of London is at the heart of the financial innovation that's so crucial for us deploying the trillions of private sector capital that are needed to put us on track to the zero carbon economy in the 2040s. Thank you.
Now, making Green Horizon Summit at COP26 a success will be a team effort. And I would now like to introduce my colleagues, Catherine McGuinness, our Policy Chair, and Rhianne Marie Thomas, CEO of the Green Finance Institute, to talk in a little more detail about our ambitions. Before I hand over to Catherine, can I say that we will be coming together after the presentations for a brief panel, where you will have a chance to ask us all direct questions via the chat function.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. As Policy Chair at the City of London Corporation, I chair the committee which leads on our own climate action strategy, a strategy which ensures that we practice what we preach by setting an ambitious net zero target for our own operations by 2027. I also oversee our detailed work to build the city's long-term competitiveness in green and sustainable finance. We're pleased to be doing all that we can to support the government in delivering a successful COP26. And that includes considering how to maximise our reach for the financial and related professional services sector. But we do know how hard it is to plan for COP at present, due to the global COVID crisis. Much is still unknown, including the final size and shape of the physical event in November. And that's why we're planning now for a hybrid event, like our original Green Horizon Summit in 2020. COVID-19 has changed, perhaps forever, the way that we look at events, conferences and audiences. We'd like to learn the lessons for broader engagement and more agile delivery. In contrast to a traditional closed-door conference, GHS at COP26 will have a wide global online audience, building on our audience for last year's summit. It will be more inclusive and diverse, with content for all to engage with. And it will have a lower carbon footprint. So, what does hybrid mean in practice? Well, there are 4 aspects. First, we will have a physical footprint in Glasgow. We're delighted to have secured the historic South Rotunda in partnership with the Malin Group, an innovative Scottish maritime firm. The rotunda is 5 minutes walk from the entrances to the blue and green zones, and that means there will be easy access and inclusive events for those on both sides of the security cordon. Secondly, we'll link to physical events back here in the city at Mansion House and Guildhall, where we can provide a platform for those who cannot physically be in Glasgow. Thirdly, we'll have a link to virtual content from across the UK and the world. We're planning sessions involving global financial centres such as New York and Tokyo, and financial centres across the UK, to show that this is not just about London. And finally, we're looking to host all that content on a single online platform to allow easy access for our audiences, live and on demand. I'd like to end with a few words about our road to COP26. Many of you will have watched our opening Green Horizon Perspectives magazine programme last month. These programmes provide a mixture of engaging live and pre-recorded content around the key themes towards COP26. They're tasters for GHS at COP26 itself. The next one's planned for the 30th of June to coincide with London Climate Action Week, and it will focus on cities. Others will have been involved in our Green Teas programme. Through these, the Lord Mayor and Mark Carney have been speaking to key global leaders in financial and professional services, sector by sector. And still others have been working with us to develop the right content for GHS at COP26 and beyond, where we've been working with partners across government, business and the trade bodies, including the City UK. We've been working with initiatives such as the UK Voluntary Carbon Markets Forum, the Professional Business Services Council with BEIS, and on emerging markets initiatives with China and India. As the Lord Mayor said, this will be a team effort. It will be our common task to get beyond the big, general aspirations and to the practical measures which finance can take, which means developing the right capabilities, products and measurements. We feel that the UK financial and professional services sector, including the overseas firms invested here, are especially well placed for this. We have the scale, the capital and the expertise to make a difference. Well, I've spoken to the what of GHS at COP26. I'd now like to introduce Rhianne Marie-Thomas, CEO of the Green Finance Institute, to say more on the how. Thank you.
Hello, I am Rhianne Marie-Thomas, Chief Executive of the Green Finance Institute. I'd like to share a few ideas with you about how we are planning to approach the content for the GHS at COP26 platform. I'd first like to reiterate what the Lord Mayor said about the importance of building a strong agenda that focuses on pragmatic solutions to mobilise private capital. The eyes of the whole world will be on COP, and we'll be looking to the finance sector to take its place in the driving seat of the transition. The City of London Corporation and the Green Finance Institute are uniquely placed to help frame the discussion. We are neutral, neither governmental nor commercial, and put collaboration at the heart of what we do, bringing together stakeholders from across entire value chains, from across sectors and borders to co-create solutions. And we are ruthlessly practical in our approach, focusing on real economy outcomes that accelerate investment opportunities, create jobs, and channel capital towards climate and nature-friendly projects. To give GHS at COP26 the best chance of success, our content needs to be accessible, ambitious, and relevant, emphasising the points made by the Lord Mayor. Firstly, accessible, reaching a wide yet targeted audience with an engaging mix of formats and high-quality AV. Secondly, ambitious, unafraid to tackle the big questions, seek concrete answers, and be challenged. So we're no longer asking if we can transition, but instead asking how we get there. And thirdly, relevant, focusing on the real-world economic transition, not just finance talking to finance. We will apply some cross-cutting themes to our GHS at COP26 agenda to help create compelling thought leadership. First, by tackling the big questions. How can we finance both transition and growth? How can we build a global green playbook so moving towards common, harmonised standards? How can we price carbon and nature? Building a robust global market to accelerate cross-border financing for climate and nature-friendly outcomes? And how can we meet and beat our $100 billion promise? Rethinking international climate finance to catalyse private investment into developing economies and emerging markets to ensure the transition results in a resilient and just economy globally. Second, it will reflect the key themes in the wider real economy: energy, built environment, transport, nature, adaptation and resilience. Third, it needs to be relevant to the different subsectors within finance: asset management, banking, market infrastructure, insurance and professional services. The structure of GHS at COP26 is not yet fixed, but we will deliver content which is modular and can be adapted to the evolving shape of COP26. Our ambition is to build a programme of 4 to 6 days, such as this. This can sit around and amplify the core finance day, which will be curated by Mark Carney's private finance unit. Individual days may be structured around sectors, COP themes, the big questions, or a mixture of all three. And session by session, we will drill down into the detail to address the barriers to mobilising capital and turning green commitments into meaningful action. We are aiming for a mix of formats, mix of themes, and a mix of Glasgow, the city, and the world. Crucially, creating structure and content will be a collaboration involving all of you. And we very much look forward to working with you to build a programme that really moves the needle in mobilising private capital in the transition to a net zero global economy. And now I'd like to pass to William Elliott to tell you more about how to get involved.
So my name is William Elliott and I'm the Programme Director for COP26 at the City of London Corporation. I'm just going to tell you a few words about how we might look to work with partners in this process. So starting off, why do we need partners at all on the commercial side? Well, I think there are a few reasons. Starting with content, really working with partners provides better content, which reflects the interests and the issues which are out there in the financial professional services. Secondly, it's around better audiences and networks which our commercial partners can bring to us. Thirdly, it's about reflecting the breadth of the industry across the world and across all of its sectors. And finally, and importantly, it's actually about covering our costs as well. I mean, the City of London Corporation and the GFI will be putting a lot of resource into this, direct financial resource, but also project management, also thought leadership and venues. However, we would like some support when we're looking at certain outsourced costs. Those are particularly around high quality AV for the GHS at COP26, for the online platforms, which we want to be as good and as broad as possible, and finally, for comms and marketing, where we think we need a really professional effort on that front. Just following on from that, a few principles by which we were looking to operate with our commercial partners. First of all, transparency, I think particularly around the finances. Here, we will have an open book policy so that the partners will be able to see which revenues are coming in and what they're being spent on. And of course, if anything is unspent, it will be returned. Secondly, it's around breadth, as I mentioned before. We're very keen that our partnerships reflect all of the work that we do across the world and across all of the sectors. So a cross-sectoral and also cross-border approach to our choice of partners will be very important. Thirdly, it's about collaboration. And here, it's collaboration on the content, obviously, and it will be fantastic to get collaboration among all of our partners between themselves. But also we would hope that our key partners will bring in collaboration in the sectors that they work in, including collaborating with their competitors to bring them to the table. What kind of partnerships are we looking for? Well, I think first of all, we'd look for 4 to 6 strategic partners. These are likely to be firms with a global footprint, global presence, and global scale. And we would look to work with them very strongly around co-creation of content for GHS at COP26. We would also work with them perhaps on theming a particular day or a sectoral intervention or answers to one of the big questions that we're putting at COP26. But besides that, we look for 10 to 12 further commercial partners. Here, we may not be able to quite offer the same level and depth of content co-creation with these partners, but what we'd hope to do is associate them strongly with the brand of GHS at COP26, and also provide a platform for one of their leadership, or indeed an announcement, through what we're doing alongside COP. To end with a few practical questions, I'm not going to go into detail now about every aspect of the offer for sponsors and for partners, but we will be sharing a detailed document which will go into the chat box now, and we'll also email it to you afterwards, and it'll be on our website. In terms of timing, we would like to get our strategic partnerships in place by the end of June, and then we'd be looking to get most of the other partnerships in place by mid-July. And just finally, a reminder that 30th of June will be our next Green Horizons Perspectives around London Climate Action Week. Please do watch that, and also if you'd like to register for that and all our other online content leading towards COP, and indeed for GHS at COP26 when that happens, please go to our website, which is www.greenhorizonsummit.com, where you can register. And now to end, can I pass over to the Lord Mayor, who will tell us some exciting news about our first strategic partnership.
Thank you, William. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be able to close the formal presentations by announcing our first strategic partner for Green Horizons Summit at COP26. They are NatWest Group, who are already the financial services sponsor for the wider COP26. And I'd like to introduce Alison Rose, CEO of NatWest, to say a few words. And please do join us again in a few moments for a panel session, where you can ask us any follow-up questions you have via the chat box function.
I'm delighted to partner NatWest Group with the Green Horizons Summit at COP26. As the principal banking partner for COP26, we are committed to help people and businesses across the UK access the finance, data and support they need to accelerate their transition to net zero and seize the opportunities of a more sustainable future. As a leading bank in combating climate change, we are net zero in our own direct operations and have pledged to halve the impact of our financed emissions by 2030. However, tackling climate change is a team sport, and we all benefit from strong, productive partnerships across the financial services and other sectors. The Green Horizons Summit is a unique forum for leadership and collaboration on the green agenda, highlighting the importance of mobilising private finance and making clear the role of financial institutions in the sustainable transformation of our economy. I'm very pleased to be working with the Lord Mayor, Mark Carney, the Green Finance Institute, and other partners of the Green Horizons Summit, as we join forces with policymakers and key stakeholders to help achieve our climate ambitions at pace and build a greener, fairer, and more resilient economic future.